Okay, we running it back. All right. So today we're going to talk about the man with the plan. No, we're not going to do all that, but we will talk about Golgo 13, aka the professional. And yes, this is a video actually that I wanted to make as early on as possible because there's so much I can say, but I will not say everything because I'd be here forever. But nonetheless, though, this is a character, unfortunately, a lot of people that I know personally, they kind of glanced over the character. If they did watch the series, for example, they're like, take it or leave it. Character didn't leave that much of an impression on them. But for me, he did, because I kind of would equate him or compare him somewhat to a Batman, but not really, a James Bond, but not really. As a character who's more silent, for example, he believes more in doing things with his actions. That's the part that's a lot like Batman. The fact that he actually has a face that, is kind of indistinguishable. It's like that kind of what, in my opinion, kind of equates him to a James Bond. It's like you try to fit in, but you really don't. And there's something about you that, for example, just kind of draws people in. It's a certain type of charisma. And the reason why I think that there's a lot you can learn from him is because of that essential reason itself. The fact that he does not speak a lot, but yet he gets a lot done. He gets the most done. He doesn't have to necessarily, like a lot of people say, well, okay, but because people are afraid of him as a killer. But then no, there are actually small sub characters that show up from time to time that have no idea who he is. But through his demeanor, through his posture, through the way he carries himself, as I'm going to talk about in this video, a lot of these things command respect. And this is something that I believe that anyone can learn from, and a lot of things that I learned from, watching him. So I'm going to talk about that coming up right now. One of the things that I learned from him, for example, is how to, and not say that I can do this, but what I learned is that this is something that I've been slowly trying to implement in my life more and more and more, is how to command respect from people around you. And basically how to do that without actually speaking, saying it. Because this is the thing. A lot of people, when they say command respect and they think about charisma, oftentimes we think that it's about what we know. It's about how flashy or how eloquent, our speech is. We think about the fact that it's like, okay, how can we outdo everyone else? And this is how we command respect, by showing more. Nowadays, it'd be something equivalent to what can I flash on Instagram, or what can I make a video about that shows like how cool I am, or look at me do this, right? Look, ma, no hands. So we think that this is how we command respect. But there's actually much more subtle, yet pinpoint razor sharp ways to command respect. And we can see a lot of this through this character. So one of the things that's so highly important that definitely helps to command respect from people around us is the whole notion of always being on time. Always being on time, no matter what the appointment is. And the reason why being on time is such a great quality to have is the fact that when you are on time, it demonstrates great time management skills, but also demonstrates your ability to plan ahead. Planning ahead means that you not only have a backup plan, but you have a backup plan on top of a backup plan. And these are some qualities that Golgo 13 demonstrates multiple times throughout the series. Being on time also means that you respect the life clock and the energy of other people. In this situation, in fact, this means that you actually don't have to respect or call for respect for other people. You don't have to tell them how important time is to you. People see it because oftentimes people who are punctual are also people who actually have their goals aligned with their time. People understand that you're not just moving from point A to point B, but that you actually are able to see from point A to point Z. It means that you always have direction. So when you command respect with your actions, not your words. And another one of those ways of doing that is you never talk too much about yourself. And when I say don't speak about yourself, what I really mean is Don't speak too much about yourself. There always needs to be something hidden there, a little bit of mystery. When you overspeak and speak too much about yourself, it begins to become bland, become boring. Like you hear sometimes a lot of women would say even, like, they like the mysterious guy, right? We have all heard this, and a lot of it is true. But also, same time, no one likes it when a guy walks to a room and talks himself to death. It also showcases that you don't respect other people's energy, and people are more drawn towards people who are more willing to listen, more so than people who are willing to speak. Like they say, right? We have one mouth, we have two ears. Why do we have that? But we also, have a brain in between those ears. Our mouth falls on the bottom. That's where energy drops out of, but essentially where we take energy in is up here in the brain. We think about it, we manifest it. And oftentimes what happens is we get overexcited when it comes with our goals and our plans, and then we feel just this necessity. It's just too much energy inside of us. We have to release it and put it out in the world. And when we do that, what happens with energy is it tends to stick. And when it sticks and you tell people, you tell the whole world, right, this is what I'm gonna do. And we're excited. And the reason why we're excited is because in our minds, we've already created, we've already manifested it. Like that's our own inner genius, right? But to other people, they didn't see anything. They're hearing you talk. They may be a little excited for you, but really they're looking and waiting for the results. You in your mind, like you've already see it in the back of your eyes, right? In your mind's eye. But so what ends up happening is when you change your plans, things don't go according to plan. You were trying to lose weight, but then you realize, damn, oh my God, okay, I got to figure this out. You're trying to start a project, but oh my God, I don't have the essential tools. Now, a couple months later, people come back to you, hey, what happened with that? Now it's like, oh, and people hold it against you, right? They put it over your head. Hey, look, he's a failure. He's this, he's that. And not that that's a big deal, nor that should you care. But the whole idea here is the fact that people start putting a time clock on your success. And now what this becomes external pressure that you don't need. You already have internal pressure. And why not deal with your own mindset and deal with your own words of yourself rather than have to deal with other people outside of you giving you suggestions about stuff they don't even know about to begin with. So this is a huge point to make as well. And as well as people, sometimes they'll say, well, we should share these ideas. We should talk about all the stuff we're trying to do. That way, I can hold you accountable. And to that, I always say, well, I'm an adult. And at this point in my life, it's like if I need another person to tell me what time to wake up, I need a person to tell me or constantly be on my behind about, did you do this? Did you do that? Obviously, I don't want it badly enough. So that brings me to my next point about self-reliability and self-accountability and building resilience and developing resilience through an internal locus of control. So this is something this is how I view it, at least view myself. I'm a grown man. I'm an independent person. My happiness is dependent on me. My success is dependent on me. Does that mean other people don't help me? Absolutely not. You will not get through this world without help. That's just a fact of the matter. But what I'm saying is when I go to sleep alone. When I wake up alone. When I die, I will die alone. Whether or not someone's there with me or not, I die. I go through the process, basically. The process of failure, I go through the process of failure. Process of success, I go through the process of success. If other people are there by me to share my success, the more the merrier. If people are there to help uplift me through my failure, then guess what? That's a true blessing. But do I sit back and do I say to myself, well, woe is me, and somebody, hey, I was down and out, and why weren't you there for me? Or, oh man, look at how bad the world's going. Oh man, please somebody help me. Absolutely not. Like first and foremost, every single aspect of life, if we develop a form of resilience and we start to take a certain form of self-responsibility, right? And this is like an inner power. It's not just saying to ourselves, like, I'm going to take responsibility. That does not work. But what I'm saying is it's like a thirst, a drive, a desire. And this brings me to another aspect of Golgo 13, which is a desire for knowledge. Like Golgo 13 the guy speaks multiple languages. He has knowledge in medicine. He has knowledge in music, art, history, you name it. And this is something that a lot of people say, well, why would I want, and I used to be this way. Why would I want to learn all these things? What does that do for me? Well, this is the thing. We used to once believe, right? And some people still do believe for some reason that our brains, how our brains function, it's like, okay, if I'm a left-sided person, then I stay left-sided. If I'm a right-sided person, I stay right-sided. But the fact of the matter is, we don't use, in the way some people believe, like still somehow that we only use 10% of our brain. That is nonsense. And this just isn't true. The fact of the matter is, we use more than 10% of our brain, and we use all of our brain, just not all at once. And as well, some people utilize their brain and the different brain regions much more efficiently than others. For example, memory. Memory operates the same way as muscles do. If you use your memory and you practice and you engage in it, then it becomes much more efficient. But for example, if like you get into the habit of, for example, little things like you never remember passwords, you always have your computer save your passwords. You never memorize phone numbers, you always rely on your phone remembering phone numbers. You never try to learn new things because you believe Google's going to give you all the answers. All these little small steps we start to take away from our ability to not only learn, but utilize different areas of our brain. And that's one of the things like too where people say like, oh, okay, I'm good at literature, but I'm bad at math and science. Well, we know for a fact that just because you consider yourself bad at math or science, maybe perhaps it's only because you yourself, like you may have much more of an inclining towards literature. Maybe it stimulates a certain aspect of your creativity. But it does not mean that you are necessarily bad at math or science. We know because of neuroplasticity that if you can develop one region of the brain, you can develop another region of the brain. It just requires you to exercise it. Just like, for example, bodybuilding. When you start bodybuilding at first, what ends up happening? You're going to have certain muscles and certain aspects that are stronger than the other. I can't tell you how many times I would see people in the gym who I'd work out with who like they would go in there, they would do biceps, and they would do chest, and they would stay away from legs. You say, why? They say, well, I naturally have weak legs and I naturally don't have good flexibility. So getting into a deep squat, it's very stressful and it feels uncomfortable. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. And then I know some people who went in the gym and they had very weak legs. And because of that, they wanted to strike their weak points first. So they knew that they had very good arms. They had very good bicep peaks. But instead, they said, you know what? I'm gonna hit where I'm weak at. I have weak quads and I have weak hamstrings. So I'm gonna definitely develop that. And this, people say, well, what does that have to do with the brain? It has everything to do with the brain. A much more efficient, healthy brain equals to a much more efficient and healthy body. They both go hand in hand. Just like, for example, somebody who says, oh, okay, like I'm gonna try to, I'm a long distance runner, but man, I wish that I could become a better sprinter. Is it impossible? No, absolutely not. You just have to work more at it. So case in point, the more that we learn, the more that the brain itself goes under almost like a small micro stress to where it feels that it has to adapt to the situation and the circumstance. But if you shy away from continuously learning, then that's what happens as you get older. When you learn less, the brain becomes less efficient. And this is, I believe, where, not even I believe, I mean, we know this as terms of science. This is the reason why a lot of people got into the mindset mentality that as we get older, our brain just naturally hardens and we stop being able to learn new things. 100% wrong. 100% wrong. As long as you keep learning, the brain continues growing. And the more skills you start to acquire, then the more skills you start to work at, then the much more efficient the brain becomes as well. You start learning a language, guess what? It becomes much easier to learn new languages. If you never studied a language, since middle school, high school, then obviously you try picking it up in your late 20s, 30s, it's going to be very difficult. Impossible? Absolutely not. And going into this, I'm going to go into my next step, which is always be deliberate in everything we do. Whatever it is that we choose to do in day-to-day life, we make it something that we actually have full faith and moving in that direction. So case in point, you always hear this whole idea about how you carry yourself, right? I mean, how many people's parents told them this, said this to them? How you carry yourself. It's so important. How do you carry yourself? Watch how you carry yourself. Teachers, educators, everyone tells us this. Watch how you carry. And we say, well, what the hell does that mean? And people think that it just simply means it's how you talk to people. Now, that's true too. How we talk to people and how we hold ourselves in conversation and not getting involved in crime and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, understandable. But really, when we talk about how we carry ourselves, And this something goes back to Golgo 13 is our posture. Our posture, our eyes, what we give attention to. So meaning if I know, for example, right? If I know, for example, that I am trying to go from where I'm sitting to the library because I want to study, that means that my focus is on getting from where I am to the library to study for whatever it is that my goals are. And it means that in the process of doing this, right, there may be 100 different obstacles to keep me from getting there. My car might stall. I might get in a fight with my girlfriend. A friend may come over and say, "Hey, man, we're about to, go to the beach or something like that." I may say, I'm feeling I'm not really feeling motivated right now. That's a big one, right? That's an internal one. All of them are internal when we think about it. But anyways, there are 100 different obstacles that can come in the way. But the whole point is that no matter what happens to come between us, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this is why I'm gonna combine this with another point of how important it is to tend to both the body and the mind. Because the body, yes, the body does get us there, but really it's the mind that is in the driver's seat. It's the mind itself that essentially makes for that. If I want to move, I move. So if I want to lift my arm, right? And I tell someone, I say, lift your arm. And someone says, okay, I lifted my arm. And I say, how did you lift your arm? They say, well, I just lifted my arm. Well, I asked them this. I say, okay, you see that clock on the wall? Yeah, I see that clock. How do the hands on the clock move? I said, I don't know. I said, how do the hands on the clock move? He said, I don't know. Well, the clock has gears inside. Exactly, inside. From inside is how the clock moves. We see the outside where the hands move. But if those hands stop moving, we go what? Uh-oh. We don't say the hands are broken. We go, uh-oh, something inside is wrong. Maybe the batteries ran out. Maybe something inside of it is broken. Whatever, it's dead inside, right? We say that. The body, ourselves, we're the same way. Our bodies move, but how we get there is from inside. So it's always inside. Maintain what's inside. So when we see someone like Golgo 13, when he stands there, he is never shaken by what's happening outside. And if he is, guess what? Because he controls what's happening inside of himself, it never manifests. So that's why people and someone can say, wow, I'm really confident. They have their chest out and they walk around, this and that. But if the person themselves has fear, the universe, reality always has a way of exploiting that. So moving into putting the last points here is, as I was saying, tending to body and mind. On that note, exercise, remain physical, take care of your vessel. Because if you have it once, you can't get it again. That's what it is. That's a very simple one, I like to think. Body intelligence leads to mind intelligence. An intelligent body means intelligent mind. A healthy body means a healthy mind. And that's going to conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed it to some extent. I very much enjoyed making it. Didn't come out 100% how I wanted it to, but hopefully in the future I can make a much better one. But I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. And if you made it to the end, I hope you have a great day. Have a good one. Peace out.